It's almost like I feel like watching the league this year. I don't want to say it's not a negative or like a frustration to let somebody go off for 30, 40 points, but it felt like it happened every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was looking through the DPOY votes and you got a few. I feel like this was a really strong season from you there. But at the same time, like you said, there's still nights where you went home and you're like, how did that guy shoot 60% and score
Yeah, it
45
kept me up
points?
till 2 a.m. thinking about it.
What's that like? I mean, what do you feel like? What does that feel like to watch and be part of the league with such a big offensive explosion? And what do you think explains it? Have you thought about that at all? Of why this is happening? Because it feels insane to just turn on League Pass every night and watch what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, the league is it's more skilled than it's ever been. I don't know the number, but I know there's a record number of players that average 30 plus points per game this year. I saw something on JJ Redick's podcast, Old Man of the Three, about like comparing. I can't remember what era it was. I think it was the Suns back when they had Steve Nash, and they were like viewed as like pick and roll, spread it out, running gun, and like they would have been like the 28th best offense or offensive rating this year. And it's just the evolution of the game, man. Everyone's skilled, everyone's trying to play more space, shoot more threes. A little bit of analytics come in. People are trying to do the whole free throw, layups, threes. And I mean, the league is not dumb. They're smart. They know that offense sells, and they know that that's something that people want to show up and watch. They want to see 120 to 125. They don't want to see 90 to 95, just for consumer basis. But yeah, for me, man, it's just like I got to go out there and try and do my job every night at a high level. And if I do it, then I'll probably have the best player on the other team. So it's usually who I'm guarding. They'll probably go there like for their average, maybe a point or two below their average. And if you don't do your job, then that's when you get the outliers. That's when you get like the 40s and the 50s. But yeah, it's not a one-man job anymore in the league. Usually, looking back, I remember just watching old players, like Tony Allen, Ron Artest, like guys you could just be super physical and just kind of almost just hand check and then use length and activity. And the way the game's called now, like those guys would have to change their game just because, being able to use your hands or like an arm bar is kind of outlawed.
So without asking about the officiating or how things have changed with the entertainment product, because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
yeah,
but,
yeah, that was
I appreciated the podcast plug there too. It's a great company man a little bit there. But Mikal Bridges, I have his jersey behind me. I'm finally able to be a complete fanboy because he's not in Phoenix, and I don't have to pretend like I didn't love covering that dude anymore. So he told me, because I've covered him for most of his career before the trade, that the big thing he learned coming up through the league, and you've been in the league a while now too, is like, it's one thing to have the talent, to be naturally gifted on defense, to commit to that end, but it's another thing to guard over seasons and seasons the same couple dudes over and over. You know their tendencies, you know what the game plan is, you know what your coaching staff wants you to do against them, on and on. But if it's that, then speak on that. But what do you feel like has been where you've grown the most on defense? Because it's not just static, right? Like, you're great at defense. You want to keep getting better at it. What's been the biggest thing for you on that end of the floor?
Yeah, you have to keep getting better. You think about guys go home for the summer and they always talk about adding stuff to their game. It's like, if you don't go home and, kind of advance, I mean, there's not much you can do defensively at that, at a certain point. Maybe you can work on strength or quickness, but, at the end of the day, it's about the knowledge of the game, understanding, like you said, player tendencies, sets teams run, just being able to compete at a high level and not have, I guess what's that Ted Lasso is like, be like a goldfish. Like, you got to be able to forget and just go again and go again and go again, because these guys, like I said, you play the best defense of your life, and they're going to get their average and make some tough shots, and you got to be okay with it. And some of that, if you let them making a couple tough shots or a couple bad calls go their way, if you let that affect you, now all of a sudden, you're opening up that threshold for them to go and get those big numbers. But yeah, I think for me, it's about being smart. You got to understand what guys like to do, the little tricks and stuff like that. Like, you got to know Trae Young, Dame, they like the little stop and shot coming off the three. Chris Paul, when he's in the bonus, is going to do the rip through. Luka's a big pump fake guy. Just knowing guys' tendencies to be able to try and, make it be as disciplined and make it as tough for them as possible, because we've said multiple times already, like they're going to get theirs eventually.